Welcome back to Seasons. And as I've been saying all along, you don't need to go and buy the book unless you would like to buy the book. And if you do, buy it on Amazon. Today, the title from the book that we're going to be basing our little chat about is called The Yellow Bowl Blessing. Years ago, I led a small group in my apartment every week. Although I tried to keep the group format as flexible as I possibly could, over the weeks and months, we did have a certain predictable pattern. We'd begin with worship, we'd have a snack and a cup of coffee or tea, and we'd bring those back into my living room where I would have an icebreaker question. We would have a short teaching time, and I would leave plenty of time at the end for prayer requests so we could pray one for another and we could encourage each other with testimonies of answered prayer. I was, and I still am, and I always will be, a firm believer in the power of corporate prayer. I became increasingly frustrated, however, as the group started to develop some bad habits. One of which is when people would respond to our request, if you have any prayer requests, please let us know, with a vague answer of, well, I guess if you insist, I guess I could do with a little prayer. It was like we were trying to force feed them a blessing from God. A little blessing? I wondered if they were the type of person who goes through a buffet at a wedding reception only to return to their table with a small bread and butter plate that holds one cheese slice, a pickle, and a sprig of parsley. You just know that person is going to be going through a burger joint on his or her way home. I have a huge yellow bowl that I use for making popcorn. And popcorn was a staple of this home group, and everyone was well acquainted with the bounty that bowl could hold. It was magnificent. One week, we diverted from the popcorn routine, however, as somebody brought homemade cookies. After our teaching time, I asked our usual question, does anybody want prayer for anything? And a few people came forward and did share about what they would like prayer for. Then I asked the second question, steeling myself because I knew the answer that was about to come. If you don't have any specific prayer needs, but you would like to be blessed and for us to pray over you, please let us know. After a long moment of silence, a woman's response to me caused me to reach my breaking point. She shrugged and said, if you insist, I guess I could do with a little prayer. Reaching my limit of patience, I abruptly stomped out of my living room and into my kitchen. I am sure my fellowship members were wondering what on earth happened to me if I had had some sort of nervous breakdown. I banged around in my kitchen, shutting cupboard doors. I didn't slam them. They were even more perplexed when I came back into the room carrying the popcorn bowl and the smallest bowl I could find in my kitchen. And so when I did return, I asked, what do you want? I asked my stunned group of friends, who all looked a little bit frightened, to be honest. With a big smile on my face, I asked, all of God's blessings? Or a little blessing? It made such an impact on my group that night that people started asking for a yellow bowl blessing almost on a weekly basis. As their faith grew, so did the audacity of our prayers. We believed that God would take us at our word when we asked him to move on our behalf. and God began to move in our group. Jobs were found, marriages were healed, health was restored. Children who had been prodigals were returning to Christ. And it all stemmed around the truth that Jesus was teaching in Matthew 7, verse 7 to 11. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. All action words requiring you to step out of passivity and to step into intentionality. For everyone who asks receives. So when we ask, we're going to get something. But what are we asking for? A yellow bowl full of God's blessings and hope and grace and love that can be poured over everything that we are in prayer for? Or are we going to passively say, if it's your will, God, I guess you can bless my family. I think you can. Maybe you can. I'm not quite sure. But anyhow, I'm going to ask anyhow, just in case it works. The one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? Be specific in your prayer requests and pray big and pray bold and believe God that when he asks us to bring our prayer requests and our needs to him, he will give to his children from that heart intention to bless us.